about loyalty?
Be loyal to what matters.
What are you gonna do?
I'll be okay, but do it for me. It would make me feel good, if that makes any sense.
A little, but...
Listen to me. When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back. This is over.
If there's one thing that Red Dead Redemption 2 excels at as a game, it's at making you feel deeply connected to its world and characters. Here, Rockstar managed to create one of the most immersive, emotionally gripping worlds in video game history. A world where every character, every moment, and every small detail play a large part in the overarching story of loyalty, betrayal, and the slow, inevitable collapse of the Linde Gang. No matter what you think of Rockstar as a company,
Stop it.
there really is no denying that they always created flashed out worlds with characters you could easily connect with. This is pretty much true for every game they released since Vice City in 2002, but it's only been perfected in Red Dead Redemption 2. When looking back at RDR2, most of us probably remember the wild robberies and shootouts that served as a chaotic escape from our everyday life. But what really gives this game its heart are the characters themselves. One question I had asked myself when analyzing this game and its themes a bit deeper is what sparked the title of this video. Who was the most loyal character in the Linde Gang? Loyalty is a very strange thing in the world of Red Dead Redemption, as everyone has their own limits of sorts. Some characters pretend to be loyal until it's no longer convenient, while others remain by your side no matter how dark things get. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the character who, through thick and thin, never once abandoned their loyalty to our main protagonist, Charles Xavier. Smith. When you think of loyalty, you probably would think of Arthur, as his blind faith in Dutch and the gang put him into the situation that cost him his life. But loyalty is a complex matter that is perceived in a different light by different folks. Dutch, on one hand, perceives loyalty as blind obedience from his fellow gang members and starts feeling extremely betrayed once his plan starts to get questioned. Micah, on the other hand, does not believe in loyalty at all, but is manipulative and smart enough to understand that Dutch does and proceeds to play along, having no issue being a follower. For instance, Bill and Javier did have loyalty to Arthur and even John, but their loyalty to Dutch made them unable to see the downfall that was coming. Others like Sadie, Miss Grimshaw, Pearson, Hosea, and the rest of the gang all were loyal to Arthur and John as well. The difference is that these folks never got blinded by the shiny lies Dutch was handing out left and right, as they knew that the end was coming. Then there's Dutch himself, the charismatic leader who seemed like someone who truly was loyal to his followers. Of course, we all know that was a load of crap, as Dutch only ever cared about himself. So out of all of these amazing characters, why is Charles the one who was the most loyal? The simple answer to this question is that he was a man of principles. He didn't involve himself in the politics that led to the gang's downfall. While folks were picking sides, stabbing each other in the back, or desperately trying to justify Dutch's progressive madness, Charles remained focused on survival, honor, and doing what was right. He wasn't just loyal to Arthur, but was loyal to what should have been the gang's real purpose, which is freedom, unity, and a better life. Even after the gang crumbles, Charles proves his loyalty in a way that no one else did. He went back and helped bury a man he only knew for a fraction of his life. He ensured that his legacy was honored and protected. And in the epilogue, when everyone's favorite freelance bounty hunter John Marston is trying to build a better future for his family, Charles is there to help him. Charles doesn't owe John anything, yet he sticks around to help, proving his loyalty extends beyond Arthur to those who share their struggles. Loyalty in this game world isn't just about words like Dutch made the gang believe. It's about the actions taken to protect the common goal everyone in the gang was living for. But what really makes Charles and his loyalty even more impressive is the fact that he never really had to be the way that he was. Unlike Arthur, he wasn't raised in the gang. He wasn't indebted to Dutch or bound by the same blind faith that led so many others to ruin. Charles chose his loyalty. He chose to stand by the gang and eventually Arthur, not out of obligation, but out of respect and genuine care. Throughout the entire story of Red Dead Redemption 2, we see Charles take on the role of the protector as he defends Native American tribes and stands against injustices when others look the other way. He's not just loyal to his friends or gang. He's loyal to a greater purpose that drives him in a world that constantly tries to break him. And that's what sets Charles apart. While others in the Vandaling gang lose themselves in greed, fear, or desperation, Charles remains cool-headed, always in control of his emotions, knowing very well what's important and what's not. One thing I can say that always stood out to me was one of the prologue missions where Arthur and Charles go hunting together. Here, you can immediately feel the energy that comes through your monitor or TV. You feel that this man right here will be important to your story. But in reality, he's not just important to your story, but to the world itself, as his choices have a large impact on a plethora of events that are not directly tied to Arthur or John. One of the most fascinating things about Charles and his personality is the fact that nothing he does is ever forced. It's always a genuine choice that he made because of the principle he has. Unlike many of the gang members who are either born into the outlaw life or forced into staying, Charles chose to be part of this. He could have easily walked away at any given time, as he wasn't bound by any debt or false hope, as previously stated. When the foundations of the Vandaling gang slowly started to crumble underneath the crushing weight of Dutch's ego and pride, Charles's loyalty remained unshaken. Not to the gang, of course, but to the individuals within it who deserved his utmost respect. Arthur, John, and a select few others who made him feel like he belonged. As already stated, unlike a lot of the other gang members, Charles himself never engaged in selfish pursuits. He never chose to go after wealth or power, but instead focused on survival. Not just for himself, but for those around him. Arthur's story in the game is one of redemption, and Charles plays a crucial role in ensuring that Arthur's final days aren't spent in vain. While others turn against Arthur or abandon him when he starts questioning Dutch, Charles is one of those few who remain by his side. He helps Arthur rescue John, protects him when Dutch begins to grow increasingly paranoid, and in the end respects his final wishes without hesitation. But Charles's loyalty to Arthur doesn't just end with his death. Unlike many others, he never forgets the sacrifices that Arthur made, and even after the main story, Charles continues to uphold Arthur's legacy, proving that his loyalty wasn't just in the moment. In a way, when I look at this now, this is one of the biggest love stories that was ever created in the video game world. Both Arthur and Charles loved freedom. They wanted to be free of the chains that society was trying to bind them with. After Arthur's death, Charles could have easily disappeared, never to be seen again. He could have gone off to live a peaceful life away from the chaos. But instead, he shows up again, ready to help John get the life he always wanted. When you think about the legacy of Red Dead Redemption 2, a few key themes stand out: redemption, betrayal, and survival. But Charles Smith represents something different, something that not a single other character from the Vandaling gang had: integrity. He is one of the only characters that never lost sight of who they really were. He never betrays the values he has and never lets the world change him for the worse. Even long after the credits roll, Charles and his presence linger on. He never really needed grand speeches or dramatic moments to prove his loyalty. His actions always spoke louder than any words could. The strong moral compass he has is one of the reasons that he knew how to pick out the right folks that deserved his loyalty. As said earlier, unlike most of the gang, Charles never really seemed fully committed to the outlaw life. He understood the necessity of violence in their world, but he never really seeked it out without purpose. Throughout the game, he consistently demonstrates a sense of restraint, preferring to avoid unnecessary bloodshed whenever possible. He refused to compromise his personal values in face of unbeatable odds. Unlike Micah, who betrays the gang for his own benefit, or Dutch, who loses himself in his own delusions, Charles never let ambition corrupt him. His loyalty to Arthur is unwavering, and because of that, even after his death, he continues to honor his memory by helping John. This is all part of his personality that is loyal at its core, loyal to a cause more than to any man-made ideals. His philosophy is rooted in survival, but not in the selfish kind. He believes in survival through respect for the people, for nature, and for balance. While Dutch preaches about a better way, that involves constant running and gunning, Charles actually embodies a better way. He adapts, learns, and respects those around him rather than trying to impose his will upon the world. After everything, Charles doesn't chase revenge or wealth. He seeks peace. In the end, he leaves to find his own place in the world, far from the violence of the past. This in turn makes him one of the rare characters in the Red Dead universe who actually escape the cursed cycle of bloodshed. Charles isn't just one of the greatest characters in video game history. He is the only one in the game who truly understood what it meant to live free. He wasn't just a part of the gang either, or a random guy put in the game to fill out a diversity quota. He was everything Arthur wanted to be. In the end, no matter how many times I end up playing this game, Charles will forever stay as one of the biggest and most badass characters that ever blessed our consoles or gaming rigs with their presence. Anyway, what do you guys think? Is Charles the most loyal gang member in Red Dead Redemption 2? Or do you have someone else that you think could take his place? Let me know in the comments below. Also, I apologize for the continuous use of the word loyalty throughout the video. I now realize how it makes me come off as a Vin Diesel clone that instead of family says loyalty a lot.
Loyalty.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and a big thank you to all the 412 people that ended up subscribing. I genuinely can't believe we're almost at 500. Insane. If you haven't already, please feel free to hit that like button, and of course subscribe for a chance to win an RTX 7090 once this channel hits 10 million. Stay silly, keep badging, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.